Hello, everyone. A big warm welcome to you. My name is Jay, and this is Conversations on Purpose for the Global Coaching Academy. All right, I'd like to welcome to the show the one and only love warrior, Miss Indra Kaliotis. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jay. It's great to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to a chat, Indra. So, for those of you who don't know, Indra is a graduate of the GCA Diploma. When did you graduate, Indra?
It was 2017.
So, kind of one of the
About 8
earlier
years ago.
ones. Most people we've had on the show of late have been in the 20s, like in the
Oh,
last few years. So awesome. And the academy's changed a lot since 2017. But looking forward to hear your journey. You have had quite a unique and extraordinary journey, really. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you went from working on Wall Street to being so heavily involved in what we would call soul work?
yeah. Well, great question. I was an all or nothing person. I give myself fully to it. So, like, I really went into the whole Wall Street experience. I was a trader. I'm the type of person that had like 10 computer screens on my desk and looking at all the charts and everything. And then also doing deals in Latin America, Europe, like hotel deals, financing large hotel deals. Lots of money, lots of, like glamour and all that kind of stuff. And lots of pressure to perform. So that got me into a lot of substances, and that was all part of the culture as well, like the cocaine and the alcohol. And that was very much part of the whole culture. Like everybody drank, everybody went out and partied, and work hard, play hard was very much like the mentality. And it just, like the more money you made, the more craziness we did, and strip clubs and all kinds of stuff like that. Like if you've seen that movie Wolf of Wall Street, that was very accurate to my lifestyle.
Right,
So
right.
yeah. So that was kind of where I was at. And, it kind of all came to a head because it's just like, there's got to be more to life. Like I was just pushing myself so hard. I was starting to feel the physical effects of the addiction, like, not feeling great, starting to take off days of work, which I love my work. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved it. My ego loved it. So yeah. And so it just kind of came to a head, and it's like, I can't keep going in this trajectory. I'm going to die, because I just kept getting more and more use and more in dangerous situations, and like people with guns and all. Like I led a double life, basically. I was like working, you'd never know, this prestigious firm, and then, like hanging out on the weekends with people with guns and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
was strange,
Crazy.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where it takes us. That's where the addiction takes us. So yeah, so then then in 2008, when the whole, credit crisis happened, a lot of people were, like our company was kind of losing business and stuff. I'm like, this is a great opportunity to get sober. And so I did that, and I went to rehab in Eric Clapton's place, which is in Antigua. And I loved it. And that's kind of where my spiritual awakening started happening. I was very much about meditation and all that. And so like eating like natural foods and getting close to your body, getting connected with your body and all that. And that's kind of where the spiritual awakening happened. And then I moved to California after rehab, and then like that made it even more kind of my deepening my journey. Did a lot of searching for teachers, meditation teachers, and like channeling, and I looked at all kinds of stuff like that. And also in recovery, like I went to AA and all that, and I did all those meetings. And in California, they're very spiritual. They're very sort of all about that and all about volunteering and giving back and stuff. So that kind of
Service.
put me on more of a path. And then I knew that I couldn't go back to Wall Street because I would just relapse again. So I found like a sober job, and that was teaching English. And first I moved to Japan teaching English there, and then Saudi Arabia teaching English at a university. So that's kind of where I went with that. Yeah, so it's a strange trajectory, but that's yeah.
Yeah, fascinating, Indra. And I want to chat a little bit about a few things that you shared there. It, Firstly, was there a moment where you really knew that you had to get clean? I know you talked about 2008, but do you remember like an actual moment, maybe your lowest point where you were like, hang on, I really need to change?
Yeah, I was sent to London to open up an office in London for our investment bank, and it was like total freedom, like business bank account, like unlimited bank account, really nice apartment. And then like, of course, my use just went through the roof. And then I like was using so much cocaine that I like was having a heart attack. And I'm just like, all right, enough is enough. Like I saw my life flash be ahead of me, and I'm just like, all right, if I don't stop, I'm going to die.
Whoa.
So that was kind of the moment. I was like laying on the floor and like, all right, I am having a heart attack. I have to do something about this. So then
Wow.
I did. It kind of shocked me into doing something.
Yeah.
And then I told like the boss and the board of directors and all that, and that was very embarrassing. But they understood and they supported me through it. So that was nice.
So they knew about the addiction, or is that what you're saying? You came clean about that, or you just said it's time for me to move on?
They didn't know about the addiction. I don't think they knew because everybody was, kind of equally and, in the same kind of thing. But I guess I was just honest about it, and they didn't really know because I was still performing in my job, and I was doing well in my job. So it was like, what do you call it? Functional addict or whatever, functional thing. So, yeah, they understood, and my boss especially, because I had known him for a really long time. So he's like, all right, do what you need to do, like we'll support you and stuff. And they wanted me to come back, and I couldn't, because I knew the path to that was not gonna work.
Life-changing moment, Indra, where you just couldn't go back once you'd made that shift and went to rehab. And most people watching this will know that I've got a history in recovery as well, and my own story with that. And yeah, the AA and NA and all the rehabs, there's a lot of transformational work that happens there, and that's often where people really start to awaken to something beyond the physical form, and just to to a more authentic self, and get in touch with that. So yeah, there, my heart sings for everybody out there who's working in recovery and rehabilitation. It's just such a beautiful service that's out there.
Yeah. I'm very grateful, especially California. The meetings out there are amazing. Not like any other ones I've seen. So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice,
that was great.
Nice. And I'm curious to know, Indra, when you were growing up, did you have this more spiritual side of you on board?
Yes.
What happened? You did when you were growing up. So tell us about that. What kind of led you then into the Wall Street and reawakening? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. When I was 12, I, became a vegetarian. I was reading a lot of those Lao Tzu books, and
Lao Tzu.
And meditating a lot when I was 12 and even younger. And I was very spiritual, but then I was deeply insecure because I had some abuse going on in my family, and, a lot of sort of like, my mom was an alcoholic. So it was a lot of shame, projection, negativity, and that just like, ugh. And I was so sensitive that kind of crushed my spirit. And then I kind of I just decided, okay, well, I have to make money because that's what my parents want, and that's like the right thing to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I did want to become an artist, but then I kind of just, I guess I got scared and just didn't pursue that. And instead I just became in business, but it did help me to get like self-esteem and in a weird way, because I did become quite confident in my abilities, like with math and finance and all that kind of stuff. So that
Yeah.
helped. But yeah, it was kind of and then because I lost my spirituality, and it's like I would tell people about this stuff and they're like, nah, I don't believe it. And, and that kind of stuff. So, and then I just decided, yeah, to study massage at one point, and that was like just to get in touch with my body. I got like signals. I would get signals from time to time, and then, I'd kind of do more meditation and stuff like that. And then I would just get it more into the drinking and the socializing, because I loved people and I loved, that kind of thing. So it was very much a dichotomy.
It's so interesting, Indra, but and one reason I like doing these podcasts is hearing about people's stories. And what I'm seeing is this pattern of most people who end up on this show were very connected and tuned in when they were younger, had stuff going on, kind of went unconscious, did all this stuff, and then there's always this reawakening back into themselves after that journey. It's like I keep hearing, and my own experience really as well, is like you can never really escape your true self. You can run for as long as you want, and usually we're running in various degrees but it's all because of pain and hurt really that we haven't
Oh
dealt
yeah.
with. Something's happened, or many things have happened that we're not dealing with, so we've shut down, and we've all got these coping mechanisms that we put in place to survive. Obviously you went down the drug path and making money and that kind of thing, but other people do it in other ways. But it's always pain that people are running from. Inevitably though, if you are someone that really had that spiritual component on board very organically when you were younger, most of the time that comes on board again, because it's like this pressure of, excuse me, this isn't you, remember who you are.
Yeah.
Remember, and then life kind of conspires. In your case it was a bloody heart attack.
Yeah.
To be like, yeah, enough's enough. When are you actually going to remember and get to work doing what you're actually here to do?
Yeah. Yeah. And I went on a lot of circuitous journeys, not doing what I meant, and my soul was feeling it, right? It was just like, yeah, my ego loved it, but it's like my soul was just like, oh, get back to what you're meant to be doing. And, and I also like lived in 10 different countries. I would think, okay, if I move to a different country, then things are going to be better. And I just like, no, it was not.
Yeah. Wherever I go, there I am. As I'm sure you've heard that. It's like, it doesn't matter where you are. Here, you're there with yourself. So yeah, that's cool, Indra. And it's funny you mentioning that, because again, I hear a lot in the work that I do is of people saying that. It's like I had everything, but I had everything that I should be happy, but there's something empty in me, and that kind of is the catalyst for seeking and searching. What is that thing that I'm looking for?
Exactly, because it was like, yeah, maybe if I make more money, I'll be happier. Maybe if I live in a different apartment, I'll be happier. Maybe if I have different friends, I'll be happier, all that. And it just, yeah, you're right. And that led to even more emptiness, because it's like I can make so much crazy money and then I'm still not happy. That's crazy. That's because that was my dream, is like, yeah, that was my dream. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess we hear about that with really quite wealthy people. Not all of them, but some people where they have so much money, but they're still so sad. And that's not, and I'm not here saying you need to be poor, because there's also a misconception that to be spiritual you need to be poor, and that's not true either. There is a middle road with all of it. Absolutely. Yeah. So you speak a lot about how rewarding it is to help people transform. Now, for those of you who don't know, Indra her company is Love Warrior Academy, right? Lovewarrior.academy. Yep, that's her website. I'll put all the details in the description. So you've spoken about helping people transform and how joyful that is to you. So in its essence, what is transformation for you?
Yeah,
What does that
that's a
mean?
great yeah, that's a great question. It's been just since I could remember, it's been such a big part of my life. It's really just to me, because I teach what I most need to learn, like it's getting back to the roots of who you are, and like the
Mm,
authenticity, and the having the courage to make changes, and transform to what your heart is telling you to do, like, and it's not just make these incremental changes, it's completely transform. It's like letting go of all the stuff that was before and now, and that's definitely something I need to still learn because as you know, I'm working on that. So yeah, so it's really just having the courage to dig deep and just be honest with with yourself, and like who you are, and like what you're meant to be here for, and what you're meant to give to the world and stuff like that. um so it's really helping people to be their best selves, and that's kind of always been my passion, like ever since I could remember, ever since I was a child. I was like always about like helping my friends, like, oh, you should really go for this or that, like be on the soccer team, or whatever it is, like go for this job and go for this promotion. And I was always kind of like really inspired, helping people to like have confidence in themselves, and just
mm,
go for the gusto kind of thing.
yeah. Yeah, well, I know you somewhat, Indra, and there's a fearless component to you that isn't scared to go for things, and perhaps that perhaps you were born with some of that, but just maybe through the journey that you've undergone, that's been cultivated in you. And I'm most certain, as a coach and a mentor, and in a teaching sense, that would be portrayed to the ones that you're working for. It'd be contagious. You go
Oh
for
yeah.
it, that
Yeah.
fearlessness. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I definitely love working as a therapist with my and coach and mentor with my clients, and that kind of that's definitely part of my style, is that unapologetically kind of supporting people to be their best selves kind of thing.
Mm. Awesome, 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 awesome. And I'm curious to know about the clients that you're working with, Indra. What sort of clientele are attracted to you? And also on that topic as well, what are some of the flavors of issues that people are presenting with? Like what's going on out there in the world in your,
Yeah.
with the clients that are coming to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I deal with a lot of anxiety, clients with a lot of anxiety, which is something, I've struggled with. A lot of negative self-talk, a lot of stuff from social media, comparing themselves to others, and like feeling like they're worthless, or, not good enough. A lot of trauma, sexual abuse, domestic violence. I've dealt with I've worked in addiction for 14 years, but I'm kind of not working so much with those clients anymore, but it's like a lot of addiction, a lot of sort of that kind of behavior, depression.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a lot of the societal stuff, because it's like we get those messages that we're not good enough, and then we, like the inner critic, right, that takes on.
Yeah.
And also people that are interested in a kind of a spiritual journey as well, because that's part of it as well, like they're curious. And I don't overtly talk about that, but it's like I hold that space, and so
Mm.
they can kind of explore it and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And we always attract the clients and mentees that, are perfect for us anyway. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's reminds me of a quote I heard somewhere. I think it's Jung said it, is when we've something along the lines of when we've healed from something, we send out all these invisible letters to the world that we've healed from that thing. And so then we attract people who are going through the same thing because we're able to help them with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I love it because you know, they're all aspects of myself. So it's like every single client, oh, that's a mess. That's what I'm going through. Oh my God, I can work on that. And it just helps me to see it, the mirror in a clearer way kind of thing. And so I'm getting all these mirrors every day on what I need to work on.
Yeah.
So that's been good as well.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from the coaching program. Like every day I'm still using a lot of the same stuff that we learned, all the questions that we like, the Socratic questioning that we learned, and like how to hold space, and just, you know, how to be your authentic self, like talk from the heart. You know, there's
Mm.
so many great things that I'm still using today, and all the sort of the meditation stuff, like aligning and centering, and yeah, it's a very much part of my life, day to day, like minute by minute. So I'm still very much using a lot of the tools from that we learned in the coaching program. And I love the triads. Like that really,
Mm.
oh my God, that was my favorite part. I loved it so much.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of schools don't offer that, but it's very hands-on, and we get students working on their coaching straight away, and part of that is doing a nine weeks of triads where you're coaching every week, which is awesome. How did you find out about the coaching academy, and also what drew you to it out of all the coaching schools that you could have gone to? And were you already a psychotherapist at that stage, or?
No, no, I wasn't. I was teaching in Saudi Arabia as a teacher. That was kind of my sober job, so to speak. So I had no idea what I wanted to do next. I wanted to do something though. And then my friend was in the class, and she's like, you got to do this class because it's really like about finding yourself. It's not so much about a coaching class. And it is you can be a coach out of it, which I ended up getting certified as a coach, ACC accreditation from the ICF. And so that was great. And I was a coach for a while, which I loved. And I guess my friend was like, yeah, you got to do this class because it's like life changing. She basically transformed her whole relationship with herself. She found like a whole inspiration of like what to do in her life, and like she found her purpose. And I'm just like, wow, that sounds amazing. And there's no other class out there that's like that. And especially because it's got a spiritual focus, and it's like the facilitators are so amazing. Like you know, like Belinda and all the facilitators that we had. Yeah, that was just, they were so good at what they did. They were so trained, and they were so like connected to what you're going through, and like they would say the perfect things that would help you to kind of have a breakthrough and get to the next level. And a lot of it was like letting go of all these limiting beliefs, because I had so many limiting beliefs, and that's kind of what I'm helping my clients with these days, is like all those limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, and it like shattered all those. And it's like, you know, kind of expect miracles type energy in that
Yeah.
class. And that's what I loved about it, because it's like literally no limitations. And that, I mean, you can't find anything like that out there. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and I love it when guests share this experience, Indra, because a lot of people, like, I don't want to be a coach or a mentor. But the thing is, the course, some people just do the course purely for the personal spiritual development because it's so deeply introspective, and it is all about getting in and having a look at what's actually going on. And something that we share often is who you are is how you coach. And that's why there's such an emphasis on the reflective practices in the course, because we're refining ourselves. Why? Because we want to be the best coach, mentor, facilitator that we can be for our clients. But in doing so, we're just forming this more authentic relationship with ourselves. And like you said, clearing limitations and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really powerful. And even just like 1 month in, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm a different person. Like it was just, and it just kept getting better and better. And like who I was in the beginning of the course is just unrecognizable to what I was at the end of the course. And that you know, you don't see a course like that. I mean, I'm sorry. Just the other, you just, yeah, you can't. find that. So, and yeah, and I did it 'cause I was in Saudi Arabia, so I did it like remotely, but they would have these kind of events where you can go there for like you go there physically in Australia for a weekend and stuff, and that's kind of those intensive things, and I did those as well. And I'm sure the course is different now, but that was cool too, that we could do it even if we're from another country, you know.
Yeah, it's still set up in 2025 like that, Indra. You can do it online and then you fly over just for those weekend workshops. And we're looking at doing a fully online component as well for those who can't make it over. That's awesome. So is there any specific tools or processes that you remember in the course that really stood out for you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the ABCs, align, center, breathe, and definitely like the reflective practices, reflecting what basically, repeat back to what the client was telling you, kind of in their flavor, with their gestures, and like with the kind of the ethos that they want to share. That I
Hmm.
use obviously every day, and as a therapist,
Yeah.
it's so important, like to the mirroring and the developing rapport, and like with the triads, like the mentoring part,
Mm.
just learning the different hats, like being a coach, being a mentor, being a client, seeing things from their perspective, and doing like the debrief with the more senior like mentors and stuff like that, and the facilitators. And that was invaluable, like to get, how did I do like as a mentor? How did I do as a coach? How did, and just so many breakthroughs just from that. I'm like, how can
Mm.
I just started, being, or this, my buddy just started being a coach like 2 days ago, but she's already like helping me have a breakthrough. Like it's just that kind of thing, like with the triads. It's like, and then that was only the beginning, and then the sort of the intimacy that you're able to develop and over with that, like, was just invaluable. And you just get to trust yourself with a lot of the questions, and there's so many great questions that we kind of practiced, and then we can kind of have our own flavor with the questions. And that definitely is a big part of my practice as a therapist, is like those questions, and like not being afraid to deal with the elephant in the room. Like that was a big part
Mm.
of the class too. And like just really not being unapologetic about the questions. You could always kind of like say, well, I know this sounds crazy, but what about this? And then kind of just bringing it up.
Mm.
So that kind of thing. And just like, it was really about like trusting yourself and building that trust with yourself, and like building that connection. Active listening was a big part of it. Really being on the same, like connecting and being present with the person. Yeah, and just like in the silence as well, like holding that silence. That was a big part that I struggled with in the beginning, because I wanted to transmit and talk and talk and talk, and that was not working. So I learned how to listen, and kind of that helped me a lot as well as a coach. And yeah, and just watching some of the master coaches as well, and like some of the
Yeah.
facilitators, that really helped a lot. Like just watching how they would do it, and it's just like I learned so much from that, because there's so many great facilitators.
Yeah. Well, that, my friend, is a wonderful testimonial to the course. Thank you for all of that. And it is a big part of what we're doing is that individual support. And I say this a lot, that the students aren't just a number. We really care about each individual and their needs. And part of the whole course is really making sure that everyone is getting enough tutorials and mentor support. So we do oversee the triads, and you do have ACC, PCC, MCC coach as well, looking at watching your sessions, listening to your sessions, and giving you feedback, which, I mean, that is invaluable, because you're talking about people that have, over 1,000 hours, or 2,500, over 2,500 Belinda has, who are looking at your sessions. I mean, that's a lot of experience, and that's why there's such accelerated growth, because you've got these people who have been in the industry for so long supporting these ones who are brand new. And then it's just like, that's just stuff you just can't learn without the thousands of hours of coaching that these ones have. So yeah, it's fun. It's nice to watch the accelerated growth, not only with the coaching skills, but people seeing that they can be more than they ever imagined, the limiting beliefs getting
Yeah.
cleared, and oh, actually I can do this. Oh, I didn't even think of that, but I could do this. It's like this expanded awareness starts coming in with all the introspection and the modules that we do on archetypes, and all of that sort of stuff just helps on every level, ultimately for everyone to become a better version of themselves. And if they choose, a really, really wonderful coach and mentor.
Yeah, definitely. And like at the end where we had to kind of submit our transcript and of the last sessions and stuff, and got so many great things of feedback for that, and just seeing how much I've had grown from the beginning. And wow, that was so, because I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, that was a very scary part, but it was amazing. Like, just I could just take stock in all the growth that I made in the class, and like how I was just so different as a person.
Tell,
So yeah.
tell us about that, because I've heard you say that a couple of times, how different you were post doing the diploma. Can we hear a little bit about specifics of that? How was your relationship with self and everything else with that, Indra? How were you different?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of sort of self-doubt and negativity and like inner critic, I'm not good enough, I'm crap, I'm not good at it as a coach, like I can't do this. And a lot of things, like I would think of a question and not ask it because I thought, oh, that's not a good question. I would like shoot myself down in the moment, and then Belinda or one of the other facilitators would say, well, what did you want to ask? And then I say, well, what about this? That's a great question. Just
That's the
ask
one.
that.
Yeah. And the client's like, I wish you would ask me that. It's so often the
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after I kind of stopped those filters, and then I like kind of allowed myself to fly more, I saw that I was a good coach. I saw, wow, I can do this. And like, wow, so I could see myself as a good coach and as like a positive coach for myself. Like I could use that same coach for others with myself. So I became more self-loving, more, nurturing to myself, and like more motivational to myself and stuff. Even though I achieved a lot, on paper or whatever in the past, it just
Yeah.
wasn't the same because it was coming from a place of fear or coming from a place of striving and all that, rather than just being authentic. So that was good.
Hmm. Nice one. And what about the future, Indra? What does it hold for you? You've got this love warrior thing happening. Where do
Yeah.
you see yourself in 10 years? What do you don't want to do with all these skills and and the development you've gone through? What's the future look like for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love being a therapist. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. That's my degree. So, in a master's degree in that. So, something to do with that for sure. And with spiritual mentoring, like I'd like to get more into that. I have some people that I'm working with in the U.S. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. I'd like to definitely be better at being a spiritual mentor, and just keep going with my therapy practice, and just keep getting better and better in my spiritual growth and things like that. That's really important to me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Great, my friend. That's awesome. Awesome. So, is there anything else you want to share about your journey, and or anything you want to share to people out there thinking about a career in the helping profession, whatever that is, coaching, psychotherapy, whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say go for it because we need people that are heart-centered in this field, right? We need people, there's so many broken people, like from addictions and trauma. Like there's so much trauma out there. It just really screws people up. So we need need rehabilitation. And with the spiritual flavor, because people want to go back to their roots and live who they really are. And I'd spent so many years like living the life that really wasn't me, based on insecurity and like all the social stuff. And so like getting back to that and like having supports. So yeah, so that's why I think this course is so invaluable, because it helps people kind of really see who they really are and like what they're capable of, and yeah, and then be able to be of service to the planet, which we need right now, obviously. So it's such a great thing. And yeah, and just like don't like no expectations and no limitations, right? Like one of our mentors has said that before,
Mm.
and that's, I really believe that. It's like you won't be able to recognize yourself, and it's just, and then you'll just keep going on that journey of like not being able to recognize yourself, and just, oh wow, what's next? Just let go of all the old stuff. What's next? Like, and I know you use the term level up, right? Like it's just like, all right, how can I level up? And yeah, so that's very much like that. And so how exciting is that to be able to just
Yeah.
push yourself beyond the limits, and not from a striving kind of way, but from a, wow, what am I capable of? Like
Yeah.
that's like brings you so much joy and excitement.
Yeah, it's so interesting, Indra, and I love what you're saying there. A lot of people, they get to adulthood and they've kind of lost that spark that they had when they were kids, and because everything's new and we're learning, and something happens to so many of us where it's just we start getting disgruntled with life, and becomes mundane, and I already know everything. But there is this wonderful experience that we can all have, which is really very much like being the child again, where there is so much new out there, where all of these beliefs and limits and things, experiences and traumas and all this stuff, we start clearing away the clouds and the fog. And it's like, hang on a minute. So we start seeing life and the light and feeling love again and going, oh, wait a minute. It's not all doom and gloom. And, we, all of us as adults, can be really living in that space where we're actually doing something that makes our hearts sing every day, and having new experiences all the time, and growing. And if you've got that on board, where you have a thirst for knowledge, whether it's worldly knowledge or occult knowledge or whatever it is, I think that's a wonderful attitude to have, because then you're always learning and you're expanding into new territory, and it makes life fun from my perspective.
Yeah, I know you're very good with that. So you're very inspirational in that area. So that's great. You've inspired me a lot with that.
Thanks, Indra. And look, it's inspiring to hear more of your journey. A lot of the stuff you shared today, I'm like, whoa, I didn't know a lot of that. So you have
Yeah.
done a lot. I said it was
Yeah.
an extraordinary transformation from Wall Street to now, but it really is an extraordinary transformation. And it's like, wait a minute, we're just talking about this life, Indra. Yeah, yeah, that was all
Yeah.
this life. It's like, feels like you had about 50 lives in there. And
Yeah.
it's so obvious that you are such a perfect therapist, mentor, and coach to the clients that are coming to you, Indra. I can just feel how much you'd be championing them, and you do have that fearless attitude, and that's really contagious. So I can just see how your clients would be like in your space, and be like, oh yeah, I can do it. You really
Thanks, Jay.
embody that can do attitude, which I love, and we need
Thanks.
more of that out in the world, my friend. So good work.
Yeah.
And yeah, love you dearly, Indra. Is there anything else you want to share before I get on to my last question, which I ask everyone?
Not really. That's kind of it. You wanted to ask
Yep.
me something else?
Yeah. I don't know if I told you I was going to ask you this, but I ask everyone about if they've got a favorite quote or mantra that they would like to share
Oh,
with us.
sure. Kind of based on what we said, from a young age, I had this, like, you are the one you've been waiting for. Like, this is the one you've been waiting for. And so be that person.
So
So
good.
yeah.
Yeah, so good. I mean, you are the one you're waiting for. Okay, that's just so deep, really, but so simple. So hang on a minute, can it really be that simple? Me, I'm looking for me. Where? Yeah,
And we're the
yeah,
one we need to like heal our trauma and give us the love that we need, that frequency of love, and it comes from us, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
love that you brought that, because we can have healing experiences with other people loving us and nurturing us and supporting us, and that's very helpful, and that's part of the healing journey. Yet ultimately, that final key, that final piece that we're looking for is absolutely our own love to really free us from trauma and from pain that has been hobbling us. It's, you know, it's a dual process, of course, being loved by life and other people and supported, but ultimately we're looking for our own love, our own heart, and ourself, and that's the key.
Yeah. Well, great. Thanks for asking me to do the quotes. That's great.
Yeah, it's a good one to have out there. Awesome, Indra. Thank you so much for being on the show. And thanks to everyone tuning in. We will see you on the next episode.